In this module, you will learn about C++ file handling, which involves reading from and writing to files using file streams. We'll explore how to use the fstream library to perform these operations. To perform file operations in C++, we use FileStream classes. There are three main classes. The first one is fstream. It is used for both reading and writing files. Next is ifstream. It is specifically for reading from files, or also known as input streams. The third is ofstream. This one is for writing to files, or also known as output streams. All of these classes are defined in the fstream header file, and they are part of the C++ standard library. These FileStream classes inherit from ifstream classes. When working with files, you need to open them first. Here are the various file opening modes available in C++. First is ios::, in, used to open a file for reading. Next, ios::out opens a file for writing, creating it if it doesn't exist and truncating it, deleting all content if it does exist. Next is ios::app opens a file to append to the end. Then ios::ate opens a file and immediately moves the reading point to the end of the file. Next is ios::trunc. This deletes the content of the file if it exists. And lastly, ios::binary, which opens the file in binary mode. These modes can be combined using the bitwise or operator. For example, ios::out or ios::binary opens a file for writing in binary mode. There are two ways to open files. First, using the constructor, where you directly give the file name. Second is using the open function. Once a file is open, you can read its contents using various methods. First is the get function, which reads a single character. Next is the getLine function, which reads a line of text. Then there is the read function, which reads binary data. Also there is extraction operator, which reads formatted data. Also, you need to check for EOF end of file to avoid reading past the end of the file, and you must check if file opens successfully before attempting to read it. And when you're done reading, you should always close files when done with the close function. To read word by word, the extraction operator can be used. The program reads the file word by word until the end of the file is reached. For reading character by character, you can use the get function. The program reads each character one by one and prints it to the console. The program also includes an alternative method for character by character reading, using the EOF function. The loop continues until the end of file is reached. Similar to reading, writing to files can be done using several methods. First is the put function, which writes a single character. Next is the write function, which writes binary data. Then, there's the insertion operator for writing formatted data. Use ios::out mode to create or overwrite the file, and ios::app mode to append to the end of the file. As always, check if the file opened successfully before writing, and use flush function to ensure data is immediately written to the file. To append to a file, open it in append mode using ios::app. This ensures that new data is added to the end of the file without overwriting existing content. For character by character writing, use the put function in a loop to write each character individually. This method is useful for fine-grained control over the output format. When working with files, it's important to handle errors gracefully. Here are some common file stream states to check. The good function indicates no errors. The EOF function indicates the end of file has been reached. The fail function indicates a logical error on an input-output operation. The bad function indicates a read or write error, likely unrecoverable. Use the as_open function to check if the file is open, and clear function to clear error flags. You can also configure the stream to throw exceptions on errors using the exceptions function. Binary files store data in its raw, unformatted form, making them efficient for storing structured data. To work with binary files, use the ios::binary mode flag when opening the file. Use the read and write functions for reading and writing binary data, and the size of operator to determine the size of the data being read or written. Remember that binary files are platform dependent due to Indianness issues, but they're great for creating custom file formats. To write robust file handling code, it's best to always check file operations, verifying that files open successfully and checking for errors after read or write operations. Always close files when you're finished with them to free up system resources and ensure all data is written. Implement robust error handling with appropriate error messages. Consider using exceptions for critical errors. Also, use string for complex formatting before writing to files. Be aware of relative versus absolute paths, and consider platform differences in path separators. Use our AII techniques. Let file stream destructors handle closing files automatically when objects go out of scope. Be mindful of file permissions, especially in multi-user environments. Consider standard file system for path manipulation and file system operations introduced in C++ 17. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit CodeLucky.com for more such useful content.